I am honored to speak before this esteemed organization that is the Asia Society. I, of course, commend your efforts in providing a platform for dialogue and action in building bridges
So now, here we go.
towards a common vision, a better future for us all. A shared vision creates a commonality of interest that enables collective action. During the Philippine presidential election last May, I was given by our people a majority mandate to lead a country of close to 110 million people. This represents a shared vision of strength through unity. I called for unity throughout that campaign, and I am humbled that my call for unity resonated with my fellow countrymen and echoed their desire for a better future. They rejected the politics of division, as I, during the campaign and up to now, said nothing to offend any of the other candidates. And I bring that message of unity to you today. In our place in the community of nations, I have always said that the Philippines shall continue to be a friend to all, an enemy to none. I will reiterate what I said during the inauguration. We will continue to be a good neighbor, always finding ways to collaborate with the end goal of mutually beneficial outcomes. If we agree, we will cooperate and we will work together. If we differ, we will negotiate until we reach an agreement. At the United Nations General Assembly, I spoke about the importance of dialogue and solidarity in the face of the many challenges and threats that we now have to deal with. This means exerting every possible effort to transcend our differences and commit to end conflict. We are compelled to do this despite the increasing geopolitical tensions and aggressive strategic competition that is transforming the global landscape. The United States certainly plays an important leadership role in fostering an environment of stability and peace, not just globally, but certainly in our region. We appreciate the recognition by the United States of the strategic importance of the Indo Pacific area and its long standing alliance with the Philippines in this regard. The special relationship between our two countries is indisputable, founded on a long history of diplomatic relations and historical and cultural linkages that existed before that formal linkage, that formal partnership between the United States and the Philippines. The United States, after all, is our only treaty ally. We believe that our alliance is an important basis for substantial and sustainable Philippine-U.S. cooperation in support of the Philippines' security and socio-economic development agenda. On the security front, we seek
Mahina ang
collaboration
ano nila internet diyan eh.
to
Kaya yung mga
effectively
recording
implement
nila
the
dito
framework
ganyan.
of defense agreements while enabling the meaningful modernization of our armed forces and civilian law enforcement capabilities. As I clearly stated in my State of the Nation address, I will
Si
not preside
consistent talaga
over
siya eh,
any
di ba?
process that will abandon even a square inch of
Shout out Manny Pacquiao.
territory of the Republic of the Philippines to any foreign power. We know know that we can count on the United States to uphold the international law based order, freedom of navigation and overflight, and the sustainable use and development of maritime resources. But equally important, we look to the United States to promote peace, security, and prosperity. On our part, we will continue to work with China and other claimant states with the end in view of resolving the issues involving the West Philippine Sea through diplomacy and through dialogue.
Alam nyo, dito sa part na to yun, yeah, in regard to the West Philippine Sea, um, hindi ho makaporma rito yung mga kakamping kasi ah, merong part dati nung wala pa to ba tong lakad niyan to eh um, pinuri nila si PBBM kasi nakapagbato ka agad tayo ng mga diplomatic protest agad-agad. And he's not defending a relationship or good relationship with China. Ang sa kanya, pinaninindigan niya yung kanyang square inch speech doon sa kanya doon nung campaign period. Pilit na ginagaya nito ni Isko at saka nito ni Pacquiao. Ngayon, naririnig pa rin po natin. Ito ho talagang hindi na ito campaign ah, speeches kung hindi na ito clickbait ika nga, hindi na pampain ito. Talagang ito kung ano yung sinabi niya nung kampanya, yun rin mismo yung kanyang pinaninindigan.
The Philippines' candidature for a non-permanent seat in the
Ito yung
UN
target
Security
niya rin
Council
sa
for the
UN.
term of
2017, 2018,
2027 to 2028 is premised on my country's long years of experience in building peace and forging new paths of cooperation. In this context, we are certainly concerned about rising tensions in the Taiwan Strait, just north of the Philippines. We urge all parties involved to exercise maximum restraint. Dialogue and diplomacy must prevail. We adhere to the One China policy and have consistently called for the peaceful resolution of their issues involving Taiwan. We understand that peace and stability in the Asia Pacific region are also linked to the situation in the Korean Peninsula. And we are ready to play a constructive role in advancing a peaceful and denuclearized Korean Peninsula through confidence-building measures amongst the various stakeholders.
Right.
On
Ganda,
Russia
diba?
and Ukraine, the Philippines urges all parties to continue adopting a peaceful means to maintain international peace and security. The Philippines has voted in favor of the 3 UN General Assembly resolutions on Ukraine. And at this point, let me discuss the various dialogue mechanisms in the region. We will continue to work towards strengthening ASEAN, particularly its dialogue partnerships with neighbors that uphold regional peace and security. We welcome the renewed engagement of the Quad along with the recent establishment of the AUKUS. These mechanisms should help prevent destabilizing actions in the region that go against international law. We think that these dialogue mechanisms and security arrangements should complement, not supplant, the ASEAN-centered regional security architecture that has been built over the decades by the ASEAN and its member partners, as well as the existing network of bilateral security partnerships in the region. Now let me touch on the economic front. The U.S. remains a strategic trading and investment partner of the Philippines. American businesses, including Fortune 500 companies, have found a home in the Philippines. They recognize the Philippines as our country for its business-friendly policies, a very competent workforce, and a network of economic zones. Let me point out 3 reasons why the Philippines is a viable and smart investment destination.
Right.
First, our macroeconomic strength and bright prospects. The Philippine economy expanded by 5.7% last year and by 7.8% in the first half of this year. Growth was broad-based, driven not only by government spending, but also by household consumption and investments, reinforced by consumer and business confidence. Second, we have enabling policies in place. Recently, investor-friendly laws were enacted, and my administration is determined to leverage these changing reforms that will enhance those efforts. Third, and perhaps the most important point, another strong asset that we have is our human capital. We boast of a young, educated, hardworking, English-speaking workforce that is among the best in the world. With a very young median age of 25.7 years old, the Philippines enjoys a demographic advantage from which investors can benefit. We would welcome capital investments from the US, and our priority sectors are agriculture, clean energy, particularly nuclear energy, health systems, information technology, and business process management, or IT/BPM, digital connectivity and manufacturing, including the critical sectors of semiconductors, green metals, batteries for electric vehicles, and electric vehicles themselves. The Philippines looks forward to how the Indo-Pacific Economic Framework will support our efforts to promote resilient supply chains, health systems, infrastructure, as well as clean energy and decarbonization. These pillars are consistent with the shared priorities as outlined in the joint vision statement for a 21st century United States-Philippines partnership that was adopted last November. We hope for the reauthorization of the Generalized System of Preferences, or GSP program, which will greatly benefit both our countries. The GSP has long been a win-win program for the United States and its development partners, including, of course, the Philippines. These are interesting times, and there are many things to accomplish. The far-reaching ill effects of the pandemic compel us to reinvigorate our economies in a spirit of sustained cooperation and collaboration. We must use public and private resources effectively to encourage the expansion of trade, investment, technology transfers, all to accelerate our development. Despite the challenges of the pandemic and the global economic crisis, the Philippines remains on track to graduate to upper middle income country status by next year. With steady investments in infrastructure, agriculture, food security, public health, education, and other social services, we seek to become a high income country with zero extreme poverty by the year 2040. The same spirit of solidarity and cooperation that animates our relations with foreign partners will also advance our efforts to address climate change. We must enhance our collective capacity to urgently and decisively respond to this existential threat that not only the Philippines but the entire world is facing. Certainly, the world continues to be faced by enormous challenges. But I am confident in the future because I have 110 million reasons for being so. Such is my faith in the Filipino people and the relationship we hold with the United States and our other allies and partners and friends. With the continuing support of our only treaty ally, we know we can make a better future happen. Thank you and good afternoon.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. 110 million people.
Yes.
That's even for an Australian, I can work out that makes you the second most populous country in Southeast Asia. So Indonesians out there,
Yes.
Philippines next, with the great advantage, as you've just said, of having 110 million native English speakers. This is quite remarkable. So I'm really taken by the economic vision that you're putting forward for the country. In an earlier discussion today, you indicated there are some challenges still. The digitalization of the economy has been slow. But in terms of the future, if you're looking at the digital economy, the renewable energy transformation, but also future secure supply.
Kuha tayo ng ibang ng ano Palitan natin yung video.
Hope the country to be economically at the completion of this term.
Well, to put it very simply, I've been asked what is the 2040. This is my faith in the Filipino people and the relationship we hold with the.
But in terms of the future, I can work out that
Yan.
makes you the second most populous
Okay
country
yung
in
audio?
Southeast Asia.
Okay po.
So Indonesians out there,
Yes.
Philippines next, with the great advantage, as you've just said, of having 110 million native English speakers. This is quite remarkable. So I'm really taken by the economic vision that you're putting forward for the country. In an earlier discussion today, you indicated there are some challenges still. The digitalization of the economy has been slow. But in terms of the future, if you're looking at the digital economy, the renewable energy transformation, but also future secure supply chains, give us a sense of where you hope
Yan
the
na.
country to be economically at the completion of this term.
Former
Well,
Australian Prime
put it
Minister
very
yan
simply,
Si
I've
Rod.
been asked what is the absolute end result that we are hoping to achieve, and it's very simple for me. No more, not one more hungry Filipino,
Oh.
and that is a very simple. It's a very simple aim. It's a very simple goal. But I dare say it is not necessarily a simple problem to solve, and it requires a great deal of effort and thinking on the part of the public sector. But if it is the public sector's responsibility to attend to that social problem that we are facing, we are engaging, this is the new policy of this administration, we are engaging the public sectors, the private sector rather, as partners in that effort. We hope to leverage whatever it is that the government can do to maximize the effects of what development we are able to encourage, and to the benefit of those who have come to help us, our partners, our investors, and of course to the benefit of the ordinary Filipino. And so as I came into office, of course, the primary concern was the economy. The primary concern was the livelihood of Filipinos. And this is why we have come to the conclusion with economic managers who have engaged and have asked to join government. I believe that we have the best and the brightest of our economic managers, with all of whom have a long history of success and a true understanding of the problems that Filipinos face, and furthermore, a true understanding of what we need to do to solve those problems. And again, we have managed to engage our private sector partners and to be part of this effort. And I do not think that we could manage to do this by ourselves in the public sector. To take that point a little further, I would say that not only private sector partners in the Philippines, but also partnerships between governments and the Philippines as partners, as allies, as friends. As we all emerge from the pandemic and try to reinvigorate and transform our economy, I believe that the partnerships that we make between our friends and allies around the world are going to provide the stability that we are going to need as we face a new world and face the problems really that we have not faced before the pandemic and we have not faced before, and we now have to find new solutions. Business as usual in our view simply has no place in that because it is not business as usual. The pandemic basically has changed everything. We live differently, we work differently, we study differently, our social contacts are done differently. And as you can imagine, this leads now to that process of digitalization that we all need to undertake if we are going to be part of the new global economy. And so many of these aspects of the economy have we have tried to analyze it, and it is surprising for me anyway, that when we sat down with the economic managers and we talked about industrialization, we talked about energy supply, we talked about digitalization, and at the root of it, at the heart of the problem, was our agricultural sector. You would think that the high tech industries would be the ones that would hold the key, and they do in many ways. But all that we can do with the new industries still have to be founded on a very strong and reliable agricultural sector. The pandemic showed very clearly the weaknesses that Philippines has in terms of being able to provide a strategic food supply to our countrymen at a price that they can afford. And so that for us has been really the first step is trying to improve the production of agricultural products. And of course, this has been made terribly difficult with the shocks that the agricultural sector, perhaps not just in the Philippines, but around the world, the shocks that have been dealt us by the conflict in Ukraine. It is a constant surprise to all of us, but that we are having to learn to live with, that a conflict in Eastern Europe should affect the Philippines at such a profound and basic level as agriculture. With the prices of fertilizer going up, with the prices of agricultural commodities going up, with the uncertainties of supply, and so we now have to go to what we describe as non-traditional sources, and we have to diversify. I don't think that this is unique to the Philippines. I see it in many of the other countries. So those are the first steps I think we'll have to do with the agriculture. And then we have to fix our weaknesses in the bureaucracy. We have to learn to be more efficient. We have to streamline our civil service, both at the national and at the local level. And unfortunately, the Philippines in these areas are still playing catch up. But that's not where we want to go. That's not just where we want to go. We don't want to just catch up. We want to go beyond that. We have no interest in going back to pre-pandemic levels. What we are interested in is to flourish further and to position the Philippines in such a way that we can take full advantage of the new economies that and the new industries that have come to light. Unfortunately, many of the traditional sectors that we had depended on during pre-pandemic days uh, will cease to exist, have ceased to exist, and we have to identify as quickly as possible and to have a good view and forecast for the future to position the Philippines in such a way that we are able to be part of the transformation of the global economy.
Thank you for that. Mr. President, you mentioned a couple of times that you're a treaty ally of the United States. So are we Australians. There are 5 of us in Asia. Sometimes the Americans can be tricky to deal with.
I don't think you'll get any contradiction from the Philippines on that.
But they're good people, and they've been reliable security partners. So tell me, in a nutshell, how's it going with Uncle Sam? Because it wasn't going so well under President Duterte.
Well, in a sense, it never, in a sense, despite the fact that my predecessor, President Duterte, had a very different treatment of the relationship between the U.S. and the Philippines. The basic premise of the strong relationship that has been developed between the U.S. and the Philippines over more than 100 years, beyond the time that we had a formal diplomatic relationship, is recognized as being as strong as it has ever been, and that it is necessary, especially with the events of the past few weeks and months, maybe. Where what has happened is that many times I had felt that in the past years there was a feeling that we had come to a kind of modus vivendi in our region, and that we have found a way to live with each other in peace and found a way to uh, calm the waters whenever things go awry a little bit. But again, the events in the last few months really have pointed out that those problems had not really gone away. They were just bubbling under the surface, and they now have come above the surface, and we have to face those challenges, and we have to deal with them. So the United States, the partnership between the United States and the Philippines is going to be certainly a very, very important part of being able to manage those problems that we have been facing. I think it's no surprise to anyone that the Philippines uh, has some of these conflicts with the People's Republic of China, and the position that the Philippines takes is that we have no territorial conflict with China. What we have are China claiming territory that belongs to the Philippines. So this is the position we take, and with our American partners, we have promoted that position. We have also made it very clear to our friends in Beijing that this is the way we feel about it, and as a consequence of this challenge that we have, this territorial challenge that we have, um, I'd like to point out that this is the first national election in the Philippines where foreign policy was an issue with the people. Generally speaking, in our experience, the foreign policy, the ordinary citizen, the ordinary voter, would say, well, foreign policy is not really our concern. Let the experts in government decide that. But when it happens that our fishermen are not allowed to continue with their livelihood, to fish in areas where they have fished for the last 30, 40 generations, then it becomes an issue right at the gut of our people. And that is where we find ourselves now.
Alright. So, eto simula pa lang 'to nung, magandang ano yes, meron pong delay. In regard to the video, the quality of, video, it's okay, but, in regard to the audio, well, sorry, it's not my fault. This is actually, directly coming from the RTVM and then kay PBBM na pero wala talaga. What happened was, in regard to this video, it was actually live through a enclosed area, and apparently mukhang ano yata ano walang signal na maganda kahit na nasa New York pa sila. Pangit yung reception, siguro ang gamit yata nila doon smart o kaya globe. Kaya ganyan. Okay, so tuloy natin yan. Gusto ko lang mag-react dun sa unang-una ha. Ito yung ano nung inabot ko ho na pakinggan kanina, yung no more hungry Filipinos. Ha? Sabi ko agad. Ganda naman ito pero parang ang hirap. Pero since alam ko yung mga nakalatag na niyang mga plano, hindi ito sabihin nating pain lamang sa mga Filipino, kasi kung hindi ito mararamdaman ng mga Filipino na ito'y tinatrabaho niya, yung this is food security, okay? This is about food security. Kaya nga he even mentioned about the agriculture, yung mga plano, 'di ba? And sabi niya, apparently we found ourselves still playing catch up. Now, that is the reality. Yun ho yung gustong-gusto ko rito kay PBBM pag sumagot. Very direct to the point and very, very realistic. So, if you're a realistic person, so ang magiging resolution mo sa mga problema, realistic din. 'Di ba? Yun ang maganda doon. Hindi yung masyadong mabulaklak ang salita, puro bulaklak lang din at bula ang resulta. Natapos ang oras ng trabaho, walang achievements. Puro short-term ano lang, remedies. Sa kanya, kompleto, he has a short-term plan and any issues plus the long-term or medium-term plan to resolve the issue. Para hindi na maulit, di ba? And then, sabi niya nga, but we want to flourish furtherly. And no at saka yung ano, no more going back. Yun ang target nila rito. So, in regard to the agriculture sector, so yun ang target ng administration ngayon. They're actually focusing on this one. But I'm hoping na hindi naman po mapabayaan yung ibang mga aspeto. Kasi like what happened to PRRD, so since it's very very focused on his war on drugs and the infrastructure programs, napabayaan naman ang Department of Agriculture. Now, whose fault is that? Well, definitely not of the president, but the fault lies on the Department of Agriculture Secretary and the people there noong time ni Pangulong Duterte. Kaya nga ito, I'm calling out, sana naman itong mga cabinet secretaries ng Pangulong Bongbong Marcos, como hindi siya nakatutok ang mga mata niya sa inyo, ituturing niyo na ano lang na walang problema. Okay? Kasi kung walang problema sa inyong mga ahensya, dinisolve na 'yan, 'di ba? Kung wala kayong silbi, kung wala kayong gagawin. Now, ito yung pinakaisang magandang tanong sa kanya. Yung sinabi na ano, regarding sa relationship ng Pilipinas. Sabi, sometimes American can be tricky to deal with. So, in a nutshell, how is it going with tawag dito, with Uncle Sam? Sabi sa kanya. Alam mo, kapag tanga ang sumagot dito mga kababayan, alam nyo, mauuwi ito sa kwentuhan na parang minarites mo si Pangulong Duterte. Di ba? Yeah, Uncle Sam. Thank you, Mood Covers. Ngayon, kay PBBM po, I hope you see the trick na yung style niya. It's not a trick, but this is a style. Um, Magandang style niya sa debate, kung debate ito. Alam niyo kung anong ginawa niya? Instead of focusing on the small thing, alam niyo yung ginawa niya? Pinalawak niya, 'di ba? He did not focus on the PRR this time. Basta konti lang, sagot lang niya. Well, because of the relationship during the President Duterte's administration is very different, ganyan ganyan. Hanggang doon lang 'yon, 'di ba? Tapos sinabi niya, well, the relationship of yung parang nagpuputol-putol siya, it's a technique eh. And I do that before when I was a student, yung technique na yan. Kasi yun yung time na binabago mo yung mood ng kausap mo. And then you will be able right away, immediately, na ma-switch mo siya the moment you switch to your next move. Ang ginawa niya, dinala niya po sa in regard to the Philippines and the US relationship, which is um going beyond 100 years. Oh, ang galing, 'di ba? So eto nga si dating Prime Minister, hindi na nakapag-follow up doon. Oh. Pero kung napansin nyo, yung tanong niya, that's very, very tricky yon. Tapos may binanggit pa siya yung kanina, and we are Australians. Kaya ang sagot din sa kanya, I hope that you didn't find any contradictions with, 'di ba, with us. Kasi, tapos kasi alam niyo naman ng Australia, they're like UK, US, meron silang mga sariling interest din na gustong isinusulong. And that is why they even created the Quad. And then the Quad was mentioned, pero si PBBM, he did not focus on the Quad, kung sa kaya naalala ko bigla, there was a candidate, and I know it's Lenny Robredo, there was a candidate when was asked, and then binanggit naman niya about the Quad is parang yung intention to join the Quad. It's not a Quad at all. If we join the Quad, and then there's an issue, are they going uh, to accept the Philippines to join the Quad? Hindi na magiging Quad yun, 'di ba? Tapos yung report ng CIA handed over to Lenny, but she will hand it over to Joe Biden. Buisit. Parang binigay sa ng Amerika, they're going to pass this to America again. Oh my God. So ito, iba ang style ni PBBM. Hindi ito istilong basta-basta lang, kundi ito may talino sa pagsagot. Kaya tuloy natin.
Well, what we have tried, I mean, in my view, nobody wants to go to war.
Right.
The one thing we need to avoid is a shooting war. And I have always said that the fundamental principle that guides our foreign policy is peace. We talk about the economy. We say that we are in crisis. There are many things that we need to do. We have good plans for it. We have we are very optimistic about the future. But all of these things will be for naught if there is conflict if there is conflict in the region. Australia is certainly a strong partner in all of these actuations that we have been trying to endorse. In the case of the Philippines, it's clear that militarily there is no comparison between the Philippines and China in terms of capability, in terms uh, of strength, military strength. Should it come to that, however, we believe that the strength that we can apply will be from the partnerships once again and that we have with countries like Australia, with our ASEAN members, with the rest of our friends and allies in the region, and that's why I think that ASEAN is going to have to play a stronger role in all of these in all of these discussions and in trying to again, keep the peace and slowly but continue to engage China. Because once that engagement stops, then there is no progress. And then things could very easily deteriorate, and that is not what we want to happen. So we have tried on a bilateral basis with China uh, to, although we maintain our position in terms of our maritime territories and maritime their fishing rights, our economic zones, we have nonetheless tried to continue to engage China on that basis, on those subjects, but also engage China on other aspects, the people-to-people relationships, the even the economic relationships that we have fostered with China, even the some of the other exchanges that we have had in terms of education, in terms of cultural exchanges, in terms of all of the other things. I have always told my Chinese friends, and I said, let us not make the um, our differences concerning maritime, the baselines, the economic zones, etc. Let us not make that the defining element of our relationship. Because if that is the only defining relation, if that will be the defining relationship of the defining part of our relationship, then we are really at a standstill. And hopefully, if we make progress in other areas, this will help. I always quote that the way that the United States, for example, and China came together was through ping pong. If you remember, it was because the Chinese ping pong captain, well, played with the United States ping pong captain, and they became friends. And ping pong went to China, to the United States, and this led to Richard Nixon going to China and establishing diplomatic relations. So perhaps that's something. So we must explore everything. We must explore every avenue. We do it G to G, government to government.
Basketball? Could we do
Big
basketball?
basketball could be could be another. But in any single way, we never know. You never know where the progress will come. So you have to try everything. You cannot discount anything and limit yourself to just the traditional ways of negotiating, the traditional ways of dealing with this kind of problem. We have to be, to an extent, I would say that we have been successful, and that we have slowly begun to redefine, or rather, no, not redefine, but to add to that relationship in other aspects of diplomatic life, of political life within the region. And I think that has happened because of, again, the strong partnerships that we have with the other countries, our allies around the region. And that way, that united front that we can present, I think is a very, very important aspect of that engagement.
In your speech before, you also made positive reference to the Quad and AUKUS, and that follows, I think, from the logic you've just explained about those beyond the Philippines on whom you can rely for security policy support. Your reflections on how the Quad, for example, aids to strategic stability in the region, that would be of interest, I'm sure, to this audience. And within that, your view and vision of your future relationship with Japan.
Well, the Quad certainly is another one of those agrupations that we feel are going to be. It's a partnership between countries that I think, again, by
if we were to move as a one country alone, it would not be as effective as if we approach the problem as part of these political, diplomatic aggregations, even military aggregations that we have put together. So that's again something that is fundamental to the way we try to approach the problems that we are facing. Vis-a-vis the maritime disputes that we have. Um, I have to remind people that these maritime disputes are not only with China. We also have within ASEAN some disputes with our other member countries. So, but in my view, this applies as well. So these kinds of partnerships, I think, are very very important. Now, Japan certainly. I had a meeting with the Prime Minister Kishida, just the other day, and naturally, I think it's no surprise to anyone that they are terribly, terribly concerned, not only of China, but because of the recent events, we have focused on the Taiwan situation, the visit of the United States House Speaker Nancy Pelosi to Taiwan. Sort of highlighted once again the simmering tensions that, as I said, were beneath the surface, but now have surfaced out into the open. But if you remember, if we go back maybe 6 months, it was North Korea that we were all very worried about, and it is exactly that I think that aspect of it that Japan is also worried about, because when you have missiles flying over your in your skies and into the sea, it's not so very surprising that the Japan will be alarmed. And again, that is part of the relationship that we have between ally countries. Japan is an ally. Japan is a friend and a partner in many many ways. Again, and that again, we feel that we should strengthen that and to we continue to promote that partnership. The difference between right now, anyway, between the conflicts or the disagreements between China and the rest of the countries around the area and Korea is Korea has threatened to use nuclear weapons. And that would be a complete disaster. And that there is no way that the Philippines uh, will be somehow exempt from that sort of conflict. And it's very interesting to watch what's happening in Russia and Ukraine. And it's very worrisome because if there is a possibility that nuclear weapons suddenly become even tactical nuclear weapons, not strategic nuclear, but tactical nuclear weapons become part of that equation, then we will see the normalization of nuclear weapons and we will be it will nuclear weapons will become conventional weapons, and perhaps that will encourage other nuclear powers to exercise that nuclear option, which, as we all know, is going to be is really end of world scenario. So, to take this the point a little further, we are beyond the Cold War. We do not I do not subscribe to the spheres of influence like we had during the Cold War. So that we see that nuclear weapons should not be we should abandon the idea of nuclear weapons as deterrence, and to really work towards bringing down the stockpiles of nuclear weapons or in the world, and with, of course, the ideal result of them being taken away and us not having, no one having any nuclear weapons. Now, that's easier said than done. That's easier said than done because each country that has nuclear weapons have a different view on the subject and feel that they must have it because they have enemies that they feel that need to be deterred. So that is, I think, where we let where we if we take it as far, that's as far as we can take the analysis of the conflict. It's something that it is something that we that we pray for. But the way towards that end certainly is not clear, as there are so many varied and different views on the subject vis-a-vis the individual the situations of those countries that do have nuclear stockpiles. So this is the thinking that we have developed, and this is the thinking that we have tried to espouse to our friends and neighbors.
Your comments just now about the legitimization of the use of tactical nuclear weapons, I think, are extraordinarily important. The more of us in the international community who are serving political leaders like yourself who make that clear to our friends in Moscow, the better. We cross that threshold, we're into a world of different pain. Domestic politics, 60% of the vote in your election. Pretty impressive. The best I ever did was 53. So you're obviously a better campaigner than me, my friend. So but on domestic politics, and I always headed this direction with all of our guests. Had the Chinese foreign minister here yesterday. Under President Duterte, there were concerns raised about human rights in the Philippines, and particularly in his drugs campaign.
Human rights na.
Some questions today about the legal actions against your Nobel laureate, Maria Ressa. And then even the State Department report, annual report, refers to several hundred continued political prisoners. So your reflections, I noticed what you said before about unifying all Filipinos. Could you give us your reflections on the future of human rights in the Philippines?
Well, the argument, or rather the discussion about human rights in the Philippines in the past few years has really derived from the anti-drug war that President Duterte undertook. And as I come into office, you look and you see we cannot stop the drug war. The problem continues to exist. What we can do is to examine and learn lessons from the experience from the past administration, and to go into a little more detail. I think we have found, it is certainly my view, that enforcement, which has been the part of the drug war that has been most vigorously pursued by President Duterte, only gets you so far. And my approach is slightly different. And we look at the drug problem in the Philippines, and it is a significant one. There are approximately, I suppose, according to official statistics, close to 4.5 million actual addicts in the Philippines, and that the corrosive effect of on that on society, on criminality, on the drug syndicates, etc. Even the politicization of the whole drug syndicates and their networks is something that we still have to deal with. And so perhaps we should look at it. We should look, instead of just enforcement, which will continue, but in a more focused way. When I first came to my first command conference with our policemen, and I said, we will adjust. We let us adjust uh, our focus, and let us also look at prevention. Let us education to our young people, to say that this is a dead end. This will get you absolutely nowhere. It will get you put in jail. It will get you killed. And even if it does not do that, this will take away your future. And second part of that is cure. to be more sensitive and more sympathetic to those who actually have gotten caught up in this lifestyle. And so that is something that we are now promoting. We are trying to trying to learn which are the best methods now to pull our victims, really is what they are, pull them out of that culture, and to help them start again and do live a good life as good and constructive members and contributing members of society. Now, as to the enforcement, to put it very bluntly, I simply told them, "Look, I'm not interested in the kid who makes 100 pesos a week selling weed. That's not the person that I want you to go after. I want you to go after people who, if we get them, if we neutralize them, we put them in jail, we put them away, whatever it is, we will make an actual difference so that the supply of drugs, the system of distribution, the system of importation of drugs, because much of it really does come from abroad, that will actually make a difference. It will put a stop to it, and that's what we are working on right now. So those are the different elements of those three elements of the anti-drug effort of this government. Though those are the focus has certainly changed, and even the methodology has changed.
Well, thank you for that. There was the Nobel laureate Maria Ressa. I know there's some sort of legal case involving her at the moment. What are the prospects there? Is it caught up in your courts, or is it this because she's a Nobel Prize winner? There is international preoccupation with her case as well.
Well, really what happened with Maria Ressa and Rappler is that it was determined that it is a
Alright, so stop muna natin dyan bago ko makalimutan tong iba. Totoo yan na hindi ka magsasawa na paulit-ulit na makinig sa mga speech ni PBBM kasi nga maganda yung sagot niya, yung paliwanag niya very very constructive and very very witty, 'di ba? So ngayon, gusto ko lang balikan yung doon sa China. Tuwan-tuwa ako dito sa part na ano eh, sinasabi niya na I don't know kung paano to itatrato ng ibang tao. Sabi niya na, well, we have no territorial conflict with China. What happened was it is China that is claiming our uh, territories, and we want to avoid the shooting war. Sabi niya. So diplomatic nga eh. And then sabi niya, let us not make our differences a defining part of our relations. Then um, no progress. We're still stale, sabi niya. And then doon na yung sa may ping pong. Yung part na ito ho ano ba? First time ko narinig sa isang presidente. I don't know kung may nagbanggit na nito dati, but to be honest with you, this is the first time that I heard a leader saying this na we have no territorial conflict with China. So this is actually ownership. Amin ang mga teritoryong ito, sabi niya. Ngayon, ang problema lang kasi ang China kiniklaim. Ang China ay inaangkin yung ilang teritoryo namin, sabi niya. Pero ang sa kanya naman is it's a total um, diplomatic approach kasi marami tayong mapapakinabangan. Ngayon, para hindi na makapagtanong ulit, makapag-follow up, etong si Mr. Rod, um, dinugtong niya ngayon, I couldn't imagine when I saw China and the US when they come together, 'di ba? Kasi itong dalawa, they are rivals. Pero tingnan niyo naman nagsasama sila, 'di ba? So ibig sabihin, they can work together para sa kanilang interest nang hindi sila nagsasakitan. Then why not the Philippines and China, or why not the Philippines with to China, 'di ba? Kasi alam nyo, ganito yan eh. Gaano man ho ang stand natin, sometimes what makes the situation worse is the way how we deliver our position. I don't know if you believe in that. 'Di ba? For example nga, merong share na video sa akin kahapon eh. Sinabi nung isa, alam mo, smoking, I don't believe that smoking could cause cancer. It is the DNA that can cause you cancer. So you can smoke how many smokes you want, how many cigars for how many years, and you will never get cancer. So sabi niya, so I told this same way to my friends. Sabi niya, and you know what? They all smoke, and now they are gone. So anong ibig sabihin? Gaano man po kamali ang kanyang sinabi, pero sinabi niya ito with conviction. Nako, nakapag ano ibig sabihin dito, the way you said it, nakakapagpabago ito kasi it is about influencing the person listening to you. So dito po, yung pagkakagamit niya rito, medyo kung titignan po natin, this is somehow like a light in regard to the foreign policy. We have no territorial conflict with China. Everybody knows that we have. Pero yung second part, it is China that is claiming our territories. So sino ho ang gumagawa pala ng issues? It is China, 'di ba? No, ang galing nga ng diskarte rito ni BBM eh. And then yung position niya ron sa nuke, medyo nag-react si Mr. Rad dun sa tactical use of nuke, 'di ba? And then sa war on drugs, dito na yung isa sa mga matindi. Kasi I'm expecting na kung iba ho ang inanalo rito, nako, talaga hong ipapasok na ang ICC, talagang maninisi na sila ng maninisi. Sabi niya diyan is we cannot stop the war on drugs. Okay, period. Now, ang sabi niya, nung dumating daw siya sa pwesto niya, so nireview nila kung ano yung lesson. In fact, bago pa siya maging presidente, during campaign period, nireview niya na to at nakita niya kung ano yung mga mali, ano yung naging problema. That's why during the campaign period, ang stand niya talaga is tuloy ang war on drugs. And then, it's just that there will be a slight uh, changes. So when they review, they found out something, then they modify, di ba? Tapos, kasi kay Pangulong Duterte, ang implementation ni Pangulong Duterte is very vigorous, which is really, really dangerous, pati sa kanya. So the president would not end up from his office na mayroong human rights issues na lagi kasing ito ang ibinabato sa kanilang pamilya. So sa kanya, hindi niya gusto na ganun ang ending. Kasi pwede namang mangyari yun. 'Di ba? So, nasa ano lang eh, binabanggit ko nga sa unang part kanina, nasa ano yan eh, tamang proseso ng pagpapatupad ng batas, tamang tao, tamang batas. Yan. At saka, ito ho yung very, very realistic. Kaya hindi ho masasabi ng mga audience na nambobola lang yan. Because realistically, he said that there are close to 4 million addicts in the Philippines. Alam niyo, ibang presidente niyan, hindi yan sasabihin ng ganyan. Because they want to treat that as addiction is like a sickness, 'di ba? It's like a sugar coating lang naman 'yun. Kay BBBM, sinabi niya yung problema, ang style niya eh, sinabi niya muna rito ano yung mga nakita niya, ano ang gagawin niya, and then binigyan niya ng assurance paano niya ito i-resolve, plus sinabi niya ano ang problema, gaano kalaki ang problema. So the highlight na mananatili sa isipan ng mga tao ng mga nakikinig is, yes, there are addicts in the Philippines. They might forget the close to 4 million. Pero ano yung mariretain sa kanila? Usually kasi kung ano yung una nating narinig doon, yun na yun, 'di ba? So, yung naunang narinig sa kanya is yung yes, hindi natin titigil yung war on drugs. Ito yung nakita nating problema at ito yung ating gagawin. Yun na. Kasi meron kaming problema sa droga. Ang galing ho ng diskarte ni PBBM sa public speaking. And ito rin yung ine-emphasize sa amin ng professor namin na kasi ho, I remember 1998 nung naging guest speaker namin dito sa Political Science Symposium, and then ang diniscuss niya yung Philippinism, yung ideology niya namin. So yun hong mga League of Filipino Students, the LFS, CEGP, the College Guild Editors of the Philippines, binabantayan ito and they have lots of questions against the not against the Philippinism, but against him and his father. Pero alam niyo po ba, they ended up ah, silent. Hindi sila nakapagtanong kasi hindi naman finilter. There was Q&A. Hindi ho mga ano yung mga naitanong nila. Kasi nung diniscuss, dineliver lahat ni PBBM, yung mga issues. Kaya lang gusto nilang ibato, nahiya na rin silang magbato. And then they told me that marami sana akong tanong about martial law. Kala ko yun ang i-discuss. Kasi pag ito ho kaharap ninyo, mahihiya ka magtanong ng walang kwenta. Do you agree? Simple din tong pambara si PBBM eh. Kaya nun, nung brief kami ng mga professor namin, so yun ang binantayan namin. Gaano siya ka-brilliant kausap. And then yun na. Kaya swerte ho ng sambayan ng Pilipino ngayon, pati nung aking mga anak, kasi they have chances to listen to this man.
Situation with Maria
Ito na,
Ressa.
Maria Ressa na
Rappler
tayo. Maria
actually
Ressa na.
continues to operate. You can look them up look them up on the internet. They make start again and do live a good life. As good actually make a difference. It will put a stop to it.
To the legal case involving her at the moment. What are the prospects there? Is it caught up in your courts, or is it that's because she's a Nobel Prize winner? There is international preoccupation with her case as well.
Well, really what happened with Maria Ressa and Rappler is that it was determined that it is a foreign enterprise, and that's not allowed in our rules in our law. And her situation right now is that it has nothing to do with her political leanings. What has happened is that an individual has filed cyber libel cases against her, and that's what she's facing now. So that is the situation with Maria Ressa. Rappler actually continues to operate. You can look them up on the internet. They make their comments and make their posts, and they continue to operate in that way. However, she herself is personally is facing, I believe it's two cyber libel cases, and we just we have a very clear delineation of powers in our political system, very much styled after the American system, where we have the executive, the judiciary, and the legislature, and they're co-equal. And so it is highly improper for the executive to interfere in either the legislature or the judiciary.
So the end of UN week here in New York, you've had a bucket load of meetings. Have you had some fun?
Well, being in New York is always fun. I haven't been. I haven't been in New York for a good long time, actually. Just for whatever reason, it's been. I think we were calculating it with my wife Lisa, who is here. We were calculating 22 years since we came back to New York.
Put your hands together for the first
Put your hands together.
lady of the Philippines.
It's been 22 years. She practiced law here for many years. And so she's really part of that song. She's a native New Yorker. And we missed it. We missed it terribly. I spent a good deal of time as well in New York, perhaps not as a permanent resident or working here, but simply because I learned to enjoy and really have great affection for the city and its people. And we missed it terribly, and we were very happy to be given the chance to come back. But I would say that she has had a better opportunity to have some fun in New York. We've been. I have tried very hard to maximize every single hour that I've been here to make these contacts, and as you described them, I have a bucket load of meetings, which I think have gone rather well. But as I said, it's not. It doesn't take much just to be able to look out my window and to see New York, to Central Park, to see New York at night, to walk along the street, um, to get my sabret and my souvlaki sandwich. Uh, Go to Cats, have a pastrami on rye.
Did you go to Essa Bagels to get your bagels?
And I'm a happy camper. It
Mm.
doesn't take much.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I have much the same sentiment about this town. Yeah, for a small town, it's not bad. The Mr. President, as you said, UN General Assembly Week, I always found to be a bit like speed dating for heads of government. You know, in the door, out the door, in the door, out the door. You are such a welcome guest here at the Asia Society. Our centre in Manila, headed by Doris Ho. Put your hands together for Doris. We're a global family. We have 15 centres around the world, and including in Australia, but we have 5 centres here in America. You are always a welcome guest here because we wish your country, the Philippines, all the best for the future. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Kevin Rudd, for those very kind words, and thank you all, members of the Asia Society, for this very warm welcome that you have given me. Thank you very much indeed.
Okay, so galing ano? Opo, ito yung ito yung souvlaki sandwich. Para siyang para siyang tawag dito yung shawarma. Yan, parang shawarma. Putik yan, ginutom ako bigla. Parang gusto ko magmotor at maghanap ng, yeah, may pita siya, makapal nga lang. Yan, parang gusto kong maghanap. I'm planning not to eat with the whole day, weekends, kasi kahapon, in the past 3 days, I kept on eating and eating and eating. And then tomorrow morning, we will have another activity in Manila Bay, and I hope that I can join them. There will be, I believe, like a tree planting in Manila Bay. Oh. Pero alam nyo, sinong hindi kinilig dito, walang iya kayo. Alam niyo na nakakatuwa sa mag-asawang ito eh. Palaging pagka 'di ba? Lagi makikita yung kilig moment sa kanila kahit na ang tatanda na, sabi nga nila. Pero mo yun, ang tatanda na kinikilig pa. Eh bakit hindi? 'Di ba? Eh kami nga ni Mrs. parang kinilig din ako eh. Hindi kasi I never been in New York. Hindi pa nga ako nakakalabas ng Metro Manila. Ano na lang ng Pilipinas. Pero alam mo yung time, yung gala-gala ninyo roon kung saan kayo nagkita-kita, 'di ba? Oh. Maalala mo 'yun. Alam nyo, eto nga kahit na may apo na nga ako eh. I never forgot the very first time that I saw my ex-girlfriend whom become my wife. O, ang nanay ni Quarantina. Tapos ngayon may Quarantina, 'di ba? Na she's 9 years old, turning 1 year old this coming December 2. And then ang aking apo naman, I believe she's a 5-month-old baby. Grabe, at the age of 46. I got married at the age of 25, 24, I guess, 24. And then Cory was just, like, I believe it's 19. See? Kaya parang magkapatid lang sila nung panganay. O, kaya tuwan-tuwa ako rito kay na BBM at saka kay Lisa. Di ba? Hindi, ex-GF kasi we got married. So siyempre, when you marry your boyfriend or your girlfriend, so hindi na, you're no longer sweethearts. Kasi you're one body, mag-asawa na kayo. See? Yep, sweet as ever. Okay, let's talk about the last part. So ang nakakatuwa rito, alam nyo yung part na in regard to, I smell something trick and fishy doon sa tanong ni Mr. Rod sa kanya. Wala ba kayo naamoy doon? Yung part kay Maria Reza about the buti nga legal ang binanggit niya about the legal in regard to uh, Nobel Nobel recipient, um, Maria Reza, and then yung sa Rappler, 'di ba, tinanong niya. Ano, napakasimple nung sagot niya pero malaman, 'di ba? Punong-puno ng laman ang Ang putik nakikita ko tong comment ni Ella Paella, eh. Che, mag-type kayo para matabunan. Hindi kasi ganito, yung kay ano, kay Ella Paella, yung kay Maria Reza, sa mga hindi po nakakaalam, ang ginawa ko kasi ni Maria Reza, ito just in a nutshell. Pero yung part muna na sinabi niya na ano, ah, um, yung is it because of the corrupt in your judiciary, 'di ba? Hindi, nilinaw niya. Ano nangyari? Ba't nagkaganon ang issue kay Maria Ressa? Kasi Maria Ressa was able to make herself, her image worldwide as someone who is very very brave in regard to the plight of of journalists, yung ganon. And then she portrayed herself representing uh, a journalist being oppressed in the Philippines, and not just her, but she's just only a representative. So ganun yung kanyang pinakikita. Ngayon, sinabi niya, parang ganito lang yan sa usapang tambayan. Si Reza, hindi, ganito yung nangyari kay Reza. Sabi niya, si Reza kasi, merong ano yan, merong nagsampa ng kaso sa kanya kaya siya makukulong. So it has not, walang kinalaman dito yung ano niya, yung political affiliation niya or political side niya, walang kinalaman. Kasi merong pribadong tao na na nagdemanda sa kanya. Oh, dahil sa paninirang puri niya. Pero hindi binanggit ni BBM yun, paninirang puri. Ako alam ko, usapang ano lang to, tambayers, ordinaryong Pilipino. Ang binanggit niya ron, because what happened was, there's a private person who filed legal case against her. It's a cyber libel. Yun lang. So when you heard libel, alam mo na, nanirampuri ka. 'Di ba? So ang ginawa ho kasi ni Reza doon, yes, that's correct, binuking niya. Ang ginawa ho kasi ron ni Reza ay naglabas ho sila tsaka tong si Santos ng ano ng ng article regarding laban po rito kay Mr. Wilfredo Keng. And so happen, etong anak ni Wilfredo Keng ay appointee ni PBBM, yung babae na anak niya. Ngayon, tapos nakita nila may picture. So inisip agad nila kadikit ng Pangulo. Now, ang technique po kasi dati ganito, to destroy the popularity of to destroy President Duterte, who is very very popular with the Filipino peoples and whom loved by many Filipinos. Like PBBM, it's very very difficult to destroy him directly. Attacking him, it means suicide. So ngayon, ang ginawa nila, tinira nila yung mga kadikit ni Pangulong Duterte, 'di ba? Sa issue ng droga. Kasi droga yung ano yan not just not just drugs. Lahat yung marami diyan katulad nito ni yung kaaway ni Trillanes, 'di ba? Pero dito kay William King, yung mga issue ng smuggling, kesyo na raid, iba-ibang mga paninira na kung saan nagtapos naman ito na napatunayan niya na mali ang akusasyon. Now, he was asking Maria Reza and Rappler na pakinggan niyo yung side ko. I-air niyo naman yung side ko. So, it doesn't matter if people would believe me, but what is most important for me is at least I aired my side and then people could read me, ganon. Ayaw ho nila, sumulat na sila, wala talaga silang ginawa. So, nung time na yon, hindi po ito pwedeng bumagsak sa kasong libel. Bakit? Because when we say libel, that was 2014. When we say libel, it has to be printed. It was uploaded online. So, hindi ho talaga po pwedeng libel. Ngayon ang ginawa, ano, nagkaroon po ng batas like 7 months later, nagkaroon na po ng batas, pinirmahan ni Pinoy. And you know what? Cyber libel, ang isa sa contributor nito ay si PBBM, yung batas na yan. Ngayon, kaya lalong galit na galit sila sa kanya. Ngayon, nung pinirmahan niya ni Pinoy, so nagkaroon na nag-take effect ito, tapos inedit nila yung artikulo. Kasi doon sa artikulo, yung term na evasion ay ang pagkaka-spelling po nila ay evasion ang nakalagay. Ayan ganito, evasion. Tapos itinama nila. Ginawa nilang evasion. Doon sa second article. na ginawa na nila. Napagitan ng kung ilang taon. Ng ilang taon ng ilang ano ba yun, buwan. So nung itinama na nila, umiiral na po ang cyber libel. Tinira na sila ngayon doon. In fact, yung first publication pa lang yan sa internet, gusto na silang tirahin ni William King, ni Wilfredo King dahil nga sa libel. Kaso hindi nga tugma, walang batas. So nung nagkaroon ng cyber libel, ayaw pa rin nilang baguhin yung ginawa nila. Bagkus inasar pa nila si Wilfredo King. Ibinago nila yung spelling, just the letter T. Isang letra na nagpahamak sa kanilang kagustuhang ipahiya ng ipahiya yung mama. So, hi Annie Zipcon, how are you? And how are you doing? Yan, isa rin ng BBM supporter yun na vlogger, Annie Zipcon. Ah, naswerte pa nga sa akin yan kasi kasama yan doon sa sa Vloggers Night. And then ngayon sila na yung parang mga official vloggers ni Daryl Yap. Yun. Okay, so ngayon ang ginawa ngayon nila Wilfredo King, dahil wala namang nagbago doon sa inilabas nila na pangalawang artikulo, ang sinasabi nila Maria Reza ay this is the same article. Imagine kung yung unang part pa lang ay nagpapahiya na kayo ng tao, naninira na, dito pa kaya sa pangalawa. Kung yun ay hindi pasok sa batas, etong pangalawa pasok sa batas because it is a brand new publication. Kahit na, kasi may binago sila eh. Sana kinapi-paste na lang nila. Eh sabi nila, di raw nila kayang i-copy-paste ng ganun-ganun na mayroong grammar. May grammar, grammar issue but a spelling mistake lang naman isang letra. So doon na po sila nadali ngayon. Kasi alam nyo, kung talaga hong matinong tao itong si Maria Reza at balance journalist po siya, ipakikinggan niya ho yung side ni William King, i-air niya rin yung side nito. And besides, niwala doon sa part ng kanyang artikulong, yung dalawang magkaparehong artikulo na yan, na inere niya yung side ni Wilfredo King. So doon siya ngayon nadali. And na ngayon po, tapos na siya sa Court of Appeals. Ngayon, umaapila naman po siya sa Korte Suprema. Yun. Ngayon, yung sa ano naman, sa Rappler, malinaw na yung sinabi ni Pangulong Bongbong Marcos doon kung ano yung atraso ng Rappler. It's a foreign enterprise. Tapos, which is bawal sa aming patakaran. Sa amin, binanggit ka niya bawal sa aming rules, sa aming batas. So tahimik na dun si ano. Kasi bakit ito ipinasok itong si Reza? Kasi nga po alaalaga din po ng Australia. Alaalaga rin ng Australia etong si Maria Reza, 'di ba? Dati nga in-interview pa nila 'yan during the ABS-CBN franchise application. Tapos harap-harap pa nagsinungaling sa kanila na 11 million daw ang employees ng ABS-CBN. Kaya yung yung IBC News medyo nawindang kasi kahit na ang CNN walang ganun karaming empleyado since ang operation nito is global. Pero ang ABS-CBN is 11 million employees daw. And it's not a slip of tongue for me. I can't judge it fairly as a slip of tongue. Nadulas lang ang dila. Kasi kapag ka nadulas ang dila, you can correct yourself right away. Pero hanggang natapos ang programa, walang correction na ginawa siya, 'di ba? Ganun ang diskarte niya ni Reza. I-portray kung papaano niya i-portray na masama ang isang tao, 'di ba? Grabe. Oh. Kaya yan, siguro naman naintindihan na ni Mr. Rod ang sagot ni PBBM. And then the world heard that from the new president who has nothing to do with Maria Reza. Tapos ang part pa nga doon is parang na-gets ni PBBM yung part na na corruption in your government or in your judiciary. Yung part na kasi ang sagot niya doon, um, sabi niya ron um, it is improper for the executive, sabi niya, because it is a private case. No, it is improper for the executive, which is him, and the legislative and judiciary to interfere, sabi niya. Yun. Siguro iniisip nitong isa na bago kang presidente, why not interfere? Why not save Maria Ressa, 'di ba, from the judiciary? Ito sinabi niya na these three branch of government, these three branches of the government is co-equal. Yun. Kaya it is improper para sa chief executive na panghimasukan. Ganun din ang judiciary. So, na-lecturean patuloy sila ng basic ng separation of powers 101, 'di ba? Pero shout out po sa inyong lahat ng mga kinilig diyan. Ibang klase talaga si PBBM, 'di ba? Kilig moment. Yeah, meron ha. Meron kay Pangulong Duterte, hindi lang kilig, may kiss pa. Oh, 'di ba? Ang daming kinikilig. Iba kasi ang style ni Pangulong Duterte rito kay PBBM eh. Malayong malayo. Kaya nga sabi ko noon, it is inevitable that we will have a new president, si PBBM yan. Pero marami hong mga maninibago sa kanyang estilo because we love the style of President Duterte because it's so funny. Ngayon, kay BBM, magiging funny din pero hindi katulad nung kay Pangulong Duterte. Kaya kako, control kasi malaki yung pagkakaiba. He will be a totally opposite ni President Duterte pagdating sa sa kanilang sa kanyang kultura, 'di ba? Each president has their own culture in their presidency. So opposite silang dalawa ni Pangulong Duterte. Kay Pangulong Duterte, in fairness, sa kanya po kasi 'di ba sabi ko, siya yung naghanda ng daanan ni PBBM, 'di ba? Kaya nga naman ang totoo bilang bahagi ng paghahanda, kayo hong mga loyalista ang naghanda rin kay Pangulong Duterte na mailuklok sa pwesto bilang maghahanda sa kanya. So, nung time ho kasi ni Pinoy, and then, kung di nyo po ba napansin, palagi ho tayo nagiging submissive. It is the government who becomes submissive more doon sa mga insurgents. Di ba? To the point na sa mga left, meron na yung binabanggit nga ni Loren Legarda, yung kaser, kung saan ni sharing of kaser, it means na ka-share ng pamamahala sa gobyerno. 'Di ba? So the communists will take part in managing the government. And then ganun din ang gobyerno ng Pilipinas. We cannot sleep with the communist. Yun ang totoo doon. Kasi iba ang kanilang style, iba ang kanilang ideolohiya. Kay Pinoy, dahil lang sa kanyang pangarap na makakuha rin ang nakuha ni Maria Reza, ngayon, di bali nang magka-leche-leche tayo, mayaman naman siya, bababa na siya ng presidency, pwede siyang pumunta sa ibang bansa, habol lang niya is the Nobel Prize. Ngayon, yung Nobel Peace Prize niya, hindi niya nakuha. Ang taon lang nakuha niya, di ba? Yes, that's correct. It's a private case. Mm. Yan ang pagkakaiba nilang dalawa ni Pangulong Duterte. Kay Pangulong Duterte, ipinaramdam niya sa taong bayan yung hindi niyo naramdaman kay Pinoy na ang gobyerno na ang sumusuko sa mga NPA. Si Pangulong Duterte, kaibigan pa ng mga yan. Di ba? Oh, kaibigan niya ang professor niya. Si Joms, anong ginawa niya? Nung walang hiyain siya nila Joms, inambush, ang ginawa niya, winalang hiya na rin niya. Putragis kayo, walang hiyaan na rin tayo. Remember, I am the president. Ba't ako magpapaalam sa inyo kung saan ako pupunta? Ako ang presidente rito? Kayong rebelde, ako magpapaalam sa inyo? Di ba? Ganon. So ipinaramdam po ni Pangulong Duterte na may gobyerno ang Pilipinas. Kaya nga si Isko Moreno noon sa Manila, lagi niyang bukang bibigyan. Ah, iba na po panahon ngayon. Meron na tayong gobyerno. At ipararamdam ko sa inyo ang gobyerno. Ito yun. Ganun yun ang ginawa nila noon. Alright, so maraming maraming salamat po PBBM at sa inyong lahat mga kababayan, maraming maraming salamat po. Tingnan natin to kay Engineer Reyes. That's our president. You can imagine whatever was thrown at him during the campaign period, but he never once answered. His heart was full. No one else cared about how the lives of most Filipinos would be comfortable. May our Lord God guide you. Amen. Diba? Alright, so hi Del Sarate. Yan ng Singapore, magandang araw po sa inyo. Yan ay Emilyn Guillermo. Style kanto si PRRD while PBBM diplomasya. Yan. Kasi bata pa puro matataas na sa lipunan ang nakilala niya. Yan, opposite sila. pero pareho silang may political will. That's a common. May purpose po kasi kung bakit si Pangulong Duterte. It's a God's will. At Diyos na trumabaho diyan. Okay, yan, Joanna Nuestro, sabi niya, bravo! Yan, galing mo, mabuhay PBBM, mabuhay Philippines. Emelita Gregorio Ramos, yan, always give thank God be the glory. And amen. Always think about His love, Lord Jesus Christ. Amen. Always praying and trust in the Lord Jesus Christ. Amen. Amen. And Letty Neneth MG. Yan. From California, magandang gabi po sa inyo dyan. Pagpalain kayo ng